Now, when I confronted the family doctor, I really did not mince my words.
Polycystic kidney disease, it's a disease where in your kidneys you have small units that filter the blood, and in there you develop cysts.
You got a kidney transplant right now. Would that erase all the other cysts and everything on the liver and everything that just disappears, or I didn't even ask you, Luisa, are you actively looking for a kidney donor as well?
Welcome to the Green Table Talk, where we will have open and honest discussion about transplant. I'm your host, Jennen Johnson.
I'm fine. I says, I don't know what you're going to find, but I really don't care. I said to her,
Welcome to the Green Table Talk. I am your host, Jennen Johnson. Today I have my two friends on the show, Judith and Luisa. We are going to discuss Pkd and discuss what it is, how we're diagnosed with this, side effects, and we're just going to cover the gambit when it comes to Pkd, the disease Pkd. So first, Judith, Luisa, thank you very much for joining me on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us and allowing us to talk about our journey with Pkd.
Definitely. We have to raise awareness and we have to put it out there, right? So
exactly.
This is where we start. So Judith, give me a little background knowledge about yourself. Let me know your hobbies. Let me know things you enjoy doing. Give us a little insight about Judith.
Okay, so I'm 36. I work in the healthcare. I have been working in the healthcare for the last 13 years. I used to be working with patients. Now I'm more in administrative task. I have an MBA from HEC Montréal. I'm a stepmom, and I would like to be a mom someday, but I can't because of the disease. I'll talk to you more about that. I'm a French Canadian, so I have an accent, but and what do I like to do? I like to read. I used to be very active. I would go run a lot or do some bicycling. And I'm a gamer, so I play a lot of video games. I can still do that, but I get tired faster now.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
Perfect. And I love the accent, by the way. I wish I stuck up with French when I was in high school, but
you still can. Never too late.
That's true. That's true. And Luisa, a little background knowledge about you.
I am a mom of two boys, and I'm the Montreal chapter coordinator for the Pkd Foundation of Canada. I decided to get involved with the foundation because I lost my dad in 2013 due to the disease. And my promise to my dad was that I was going to do something about it. And I happened to discover the foundation by fluke. I was always in contract administration, contract negotiation. So, that little part of me that says, oh, you got to find out more. So one day when the doctors were discussing, the situation with my dad, they gave him new medication, and I'm looking, is this medication okay for Pkd? What are the side effects? Anyway, I stumbled upon the Pkd Foundation, and I jumped. I go, Dad, there's a foundation just for our disease. So my father looks at me like, my father knew me like a book, and he basically said, and now, I said, no, there's a foundation for us. I said, we have to do something, So my dad's words were, take care of yourself. Forget about doing anything, don't overtire yourself, don't overwork yourself. And I says, no, I have to do something because my youngest of my two boys also has Pkd. And so I told Dad, I said, I need to do it for your grandson. I says, after all, he carries your name. So and then my father answered, well, with that stubborn head of yours, it doesn't matter what I was going to say, So that's how I started the foundation. I asked to start the Montreal chapter. And 3 months later, the director came to visit me in Montreal, and boom, we started the Montreal chapter. And that same year, I had my first fundraiser on my dad's birthday.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
See how everything just kind of fell into place with that. My goodness.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the passing of your dad, and I'm sorry that your son has this as well, but you are definitely making a difference. Definitely making a difference.
I'm trying to make a difference. If I can't make a difference for myself, at least I make a difference for my son, for my cousin who has 2 out of 4 children, 2 out of 4 with Pkd. The other 2 are getting tested. Something needs to get done. So,
and you're making a difference, because I've seen what you do, and you've been out there promoting my story too, and promoting the stories of other people, and talking about Pkd, and making mayors aware of it, and making the population aware of it. You're making a difference, and I think you're working very hard.
And I saw your story too, Judith, through Luisa as well. Like, I saw it on her page, and I was just like, okay, I need to talk to this woman. Like, I need to find out more, because
she's giving a reach to people. Like you are doing.
Yeah, well, like I said, we have to put the word out there. We have to spread the word and try to educate and help everybody know what's going on, right? So, Judith, tell me what Pkd is.
Okay, it's polycystic kidney disease. It's a disease where in your kidneys you have small units that filter the blood, and in there you develop cysts that become bigger and bigger, and they finally kind of take over your kidneys and break everything, and your kidneys can't filter your blood anymore, so you get kidney failure that way. That's what happening to me. So I learned that I had that disease at 15. Because I was at school, and I peed some blood. There was blood in my urine, and then I went to see a doctor. He just came back from a conference about Pkd, so he was very fast and said, "Oh, it might be Pkd." So I got a ultrasound, and then it got confirmed, because they're easy to see on the ultrasound. They're really big black holes in your kind of holes in your kidneys, because they're filled with liquid, actually. And it's an hereditary disease, so we had to find out who had it, because nobody else had any symptoms about that except for me. And we figured out that it was my dad, who's 86 today and has no problem with his kidney function, even if his kidneys are like maybe 20% bigger than mine. So I'm very happy for him. And so that's how I learned about that. At the time, I was like, okay, someday I might need a transplant. And I remember crying because I read an article that there weren't enough kidneys, and I might need a pig kidney transplant. And I was like, I don't want that. But today, I think it would be a good thing. Yeah.
Well, congratulations to your dad. That's amazing.
Yeah. He's been smoking for like 60 years, so he's not I don't think he did anything to it. It's just good genes.
Wow. So when you were diagnosed, when you were 15, at that point, did they say, we'll just kind of watch and see and just kind of wait and see, or did they automatically put you on some type of program or plan at that point?
Okay, so I was followed by a nephrologist at the time, and I saw him like every year at first, and then we saw that my kidney function was pretty stable. And at 19, I had an infection in one of my kidneys, in one of the cysts that brought me to the hospital for 2 months. Finally, we figured that out. And after like 3 more years, my nephrologist retired. And then my file didn't get given to anyone, so I was just followed by my GP. So he was looking at my numbers every year, And when I was 32, he told me that I was just starting the stage 1 of kidney failure. So he told me, okay, you're now in I don't know the name in English of that stage, but you're not
Stage
supposed,
1.
yeah, just stage
Yes.
1. And yeah, that's that. So I was like, okay, we'll have to check that. But the year after that, I moved because I changed job and I changed the GP. She took a blood test because I was starting to feel nauseous. I was starting to feel lightheaded. And then I got a call to tell me that my kidney function was at 30% and going 7% lower every year since 2015. So my old GP had not looked at my numbers correctly because we think that he read them as if I was an old person because he wasn't used to younger kidney patients.
Yes.
So when I learned that, we also learned that I could not get pregnant because it would be harmful to me and the baby. And we were like months away from starting our family. So
Wow.
that was the hard part because you can live with a disease and say I'll get treated, but this process, what's happening to me makes my life take a turn that I was not expecting at all. But I'm very lucky. My boyfriend has a 11 years old daughter that I love as if she was my own, and so I still feel like I have a family, but I have to wait until the transplant to start. Yeah.
Okay. And you're still young too. You know, you're still young, and there's a lot
I'm
of
36.
developments.
I'm less young than I used to be. For a lady, it's.
You don't look a day over 30, so it's okay.
Thank you.
Of course.
But
So
I was going to say, when we learned that, we got on the list to do you correct me if I'm not saying it well, but to retrieve eggs so that if I get a kidney only when I'm over 40, then we'll have young eggs ready for us. So and what we want to do, since it's hereditary, we did 2 treatments of overstimulations of the ovaries. So we got 17 eggs. But what we want to do is check if they have my disease and just keep the one that don't have it. So they're expecting on the 17, they're expecting at the end that we'll have 2 of them that will be disease free and still good to start the process to.
That's amazing. I didn't even know that was possible, where you can retrieve the eggs and see if it has the disease. Because that was my next question. If you were concerned that, you know, it might pass down to your child or children, but that's amazing.
Yeah, it's not free because it's not made in Quebec. It's not made in Canada. So we'll have to send them in the US, and it's not covered because it never happens. The number of young women who have a kidney disease and learn that too late to start a family, it's very small. So yeah. So but we're lucky. One of my friends started a GoFundMe. So the first part that cost like 11,000 was paid in like 2 weeks, I think, because people just gave support so it really helped us with the stress that would have caused.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. When people are amazing.
Yeah.
I know that in your story you got a kidney because your sister posted something on Facebook.
Yeah, it was my cousin, and she posted my story on Facebook, and then, you know, people were responding, and she saw one of her friends that she goes to church with and she's like, hey, you know, I want to try and become a donor, and one thing led to another, and she was a match. So, you know, we met, and then here we are, you know, 4 years later, right?
That's amazing.
Complete stranger. So just like
No,
yourself,
no
everybody wants
longer a
to be
stranger though. No longer a stranger though, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. She's like a sister to me. She is a sister to me, right?
Yeah.
That's
Almost
beautiful.
a twin.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
So do you have to do any dialysis? Like, are you on dialysis right now or no
No,
dialysis?
so I was losing 7% of function every year, but it kind of, I'm stuck at 14. It's a
Okay.
good and a bad thing because I have all the bad symptoms of
Mhm.
stage 5 kidney failure, but
Mhm.
I don't need dialysis to live.
Okay.
So they don't want to put me on it yet.
Mhm.
And I'm on the waiting list for a transplant.
Okay.
But since I am not on dialysis, I don't get the points that you get from being on dialysis because it's a point
Yes.
system and it's not the date you get on. So
Mhm.
that makes it way less probable for me to get a kidney in a timely manner.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm. But
Wow.
it's okay. I understand what's happening, and I was angry at first. I was like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna lick salt or something just to get to where my nephrologist would tell me, okay, you can now
You're there,
start
yeah.
it because I cannot work anymore, and I
Mhm.
used to be kind of a workaholic.
Mhm.
So I have to change my focus and not be career and family and just focus on my family now, and
Yes.
we'll
Yeah.
see what's happening after. Mhm.
Wow. And this is all within what, 4 years, 3, 4 years has this happened? I mean, not from
Yeah,
when you were diagnosed, but but
so in 2019, I learned that I was at 30%. Now I'm
okay.
at 13 now.
Mhm.
And yeah, so in 3
Okay.
years, I'm
Wow.
here. Mhm.
You've been through a lot within those 3 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But I still count myself as a lucky person.
Definitely. Definitely. Right?
Yeah.
So Louisa, tell me more about your story. So I know you said that you started the Pkd Foundation, but you also mentioned that your son has Pkd as well. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So, when it comes to a hereditary disease, you have no say in it, right? But as a mom, you can't help but feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And, mama bears do anything for their cubs, right? So
Guaranteed.
that's what I'm doing. When I learned about Pkd, they diagnosed Pkd due to trying to solve another problem, and my other problem was I had miscarriages,
Mm,
and so when I had my second child, so like I had 2 miscarriages, then 1 live birth, then
mhm.
2 more miscarriages, and then my second live birth, which is, when we had our first child, like we kept saying, I had no idea about Pkd. So I
Mhm.
said, I want to try another. I don't want him to be alone, at least he has the company of a brother or a sister, right?
Yeah.
And so then I fell pregnant with Christopher, and he's the one with Pkd.
Mm,
So after I gave birth to him, I had him by cesarean, and so the doctor said to me, she warned me. She says, "You're not having any more,
mm,
or else," she said, "I don't know what's going to happen." She said, "It was too much for my body, this pregnancies and so on
mhm.
and so forth." So after doing a tubal ligation, she said to me, "Now we need to investigate why you had all those miscarriages."
Mhm.
And I said to her, I said, "No, no, no. I have my 2 kids. I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm gonna adopt the girl." I
Mhm.
said, "I don't want to." I said, "I don't care. Whatever it is, I got my 2 kids. I'm fine."
Yes.
She told me, she's a high risk OBGYN. She told me, "If you don't want to know, I need to know."
Mm,
So because of her, I always say, that they need to make a statue of Dr. Schinder, because She's an amazing OBGYN here in Montreal.
Mhm.
And thanks to her, I did ultrasounds, MRI. I did a brain MRI
Mm.
because she knew there was something, but she wanted to do a brain MRI. And then I saw a geneticist. Coincidentally, the geneticist was an old high school friend of mine. And so she says, "Oh my God, what's going on?" I said, "I don't think anything's going on." I said, "I have my kids." I says, "I'm fine." I says, "I don't know what you're going to find, but I really don't care." I said
Yeah.
to her, And anyway, my son was almost, my second son was almost 1 year old when they sat me down and they said, I was with my husband, and they said, "You need to know which one of your parents passed on Pkd to you." And my first answer was, "What the heck is that?"
Mhm.
"Oh, it's a kidney disease." And so I said, "No, my mother doesn't have a kidney disease. My father doesn't have a kidney disease." I said, "There's nobody." He goes, "Well, we're 99.9% sure you got it from somebody in the family."
Now, sorry, at this point, did you know that you have PKD?
No, I had no idea. Like I had two children, and by the time they did all the tests, so during my pregnancy with my second one, she had started doing some bloods, but it doesn't show in the bloods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even though she was testing the urine, nothing shows on the bloods. So
Okay.
it's only after my son was born that they could expose me to MRIs and CT scan, and I had to have finished nursing him. So I did the MRI, CT scan, brain MRI, besides the ultrasound and all that. So it's only then that they told me this, and so the day that we went in there, they told me all the symptoms, right? So repetitive urinary tract infection, sometimes blood in the urine, sometimes a cyst that rupture, high blood pressure, flank pain on the sides, in the back, like some people
Are you
touch
experiencing any of these side effects?
So
Sometimes?
I was seeing a family doctor who is a disgrace to the profession, because I had gone through so many UTIs, and so many times I took Cipro, Septra, Amoxil, and then another one, I can't, Cephaloc something.
Mhm.
Anyway, he didn't put two and two together. Every time I had a UTI, I would call him. I said, I need to come and see you. Why UTI? So, okay, go to the pharmacy. I'm going to script you Cipro. So what happened is I used to have Cipro always in the refrigerator, okay? Because he gave me like so many repeats.
Yeah.
So I had Cipro always in the refrigerator. And every time I felt, that burning, like you feel like you need to pass a bus, so to speak, I would start my Cipro. And until I was told that I probably have this, I had no idea. So that day, I left the doctor's office. Both my husband and we had a good cry in the car. I said, "Oh my God," my concern was, my God, what have I passed to my son?
Yes.
So like I said, as a mother, that you have no say in this hereditary disease, but you feel guilty because you don't want your son to go through, you don't want any of your children to go through what you're going through. So I had all these urinary tract infections. I had cysts that would rupture, and the magic thing was antibiotics, right? So I went through all the tests. I went home. I told my parents, I said, "Look," they were watching the kids, and I swear when I got to my parents' house, I held on to them like dear life.
Yes.
And I said to my parents, I said, "Look, I was diagnosed with this disease, and both of you need to do an ultrasound to see which one passed it on." My father at the time was 60 years old, and in a good Italian old man saying, it was, they don't know what they're talking about, they're crazy, and they must have gotten things wrong, So I said, Pa, a geneticist was one of the doctors that I met with. Geneticists are rarely wrong.
Now,
And
sorry, let me just stop you for a second. Do you feel that response was because, that same parental feeling, like you feel guilty knowing that you could have possibly passed this on to your child? And no, nobody wants to do that. So do you think that's why that response came?
I think that's why the response, because, after both my parents had the ultrasound, it turned out that my father is the one who had Pkd. For quite a while, my father was rather depressed because, like, I felt bad about passing it on to my son.
Yes.
He felt bad passing it on to me. So Dad felt bad about it. And so because of my OBGYN, I was then referred to a nephrologist. So, and once I was referred to a nephrologist, I had to take my dad's files with me to the nephrologist. Now, when I confronted the family doctor, I really did not mince my words.
Good. That was my next question. I hope you gave that doctor a piece of your mind.
As a matter of fact, there was a cousin or second cousin who worked for this doctor, and I stormed in there, and I said a few Italian words, and she was like in shock. What's going on? So I said, all those years that I've been taking antibiotics for all those UTIs, and I said, and he never took it one step further, because one of the things with Pkd, high blood pressure and UTIs, blood in the urine, cysts that rupture. I had no high blood pressure, but I had cysts that ruptured. I had constant UTIs. Sometimes I had blood in the urine. And then my father, who was treated for 10 years by this doctor, 10 years, because my father had the only thing he had was high blood pressure. So he was giving my father 10 milligrams of some medication. And when I told him, I says, you didn't go a step further for me. You didn't go a step further for my dad. I said, in a 45-minute meeting with these doctors, 3 doctors told me the side effects of the symptoms of Pkd. I said, is it possible? Anyway, I stormed out of there, took my files, my dad's files, and basically once my mother's family is very big, once the whole family found out what happened, and they all left this doctor too, because like I said, he was a disgrace to the profession. So my dad and I were then followed by a good nephrologist who saved my life twice so far. And he managed to control my dad's Pkd progression. Put my dad on a no salt diet, no alcohol, of course, no cigarette smoking, and lots of water. So Dad was doing pretty well until 84 years old. So, and he follows me, but I not only have Pkd, I also have polycystic liver. I have cysts on my pancreas, on my gallbladder. Unfortunately, Pkd doesn't limit itself to the kidneys. So
people even have cysts in their brain because of it.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah, that's why my doctor recommends I do a brain MRI often to check if there's any developments, because they can cause brain aneurysm.
So do you have to take medication for everything, or the Pkd meds will kind of control everything else? Like, how does that work?
So I cannot take the medication that has been approved by Health Canada. So there is a medication that has been approved by Health Canada that slows down the growth of the cysts. Now, to take this medication, you have to be at a certain age, at a certain kidney function, and all these like secondary issues have to be examined. So when it came time for me, my doctor suggested not to get on the medication because already I had a situation with my liver. So what happened is, that's why I said my nephrologist saved me twice. I had multiple cysts on my liver, just pop, rupture. And that's because for example, my right kidney is about 30 or 31 centimeters by 20 centimeters.
Wow.
I'm surprised they didn't see it on the ultrasounds when you had children.
When I had children, the doctor, my OBGYN, thinks that while they were looking for, they were looking at the fetus, at the baby, maybe the cysts then were hidden, they couldn't see. Yeah, gotcha. So maybe that's why they didn't, but right now, my liver starts on the left side and goes to the right side. And it's fighting with my right kidney because my liver overlaps my right kidney on my right side. So what happened in 2008, I had to have 7 cysts on my liver aspirated, drained, or whatever they did an ablation, as it's called. So
when they rupture, do you feel them? Like, do you feel the rupturing? Does it hurt? Like,
it hurts. Yeah. But for me, it doesn't last long. It's a stabbing pain that lasts for 3 minutes for me. So
oh shoot, that was a rupture. Automatically.
Yeah, but sometimes when, for example, I had a bronchitis in December, and the coughing
made it rupture.
I ruptured 2 cysts, but they can't do anything about it. It's like someone stabbing you with a dull knife and turning it. It is extremely painful, and you just want to take something and go to La La Land, because for me, it is very painful because I already don't have space in my abdomen. So add some fluid in there, and it's like, it takes your breath away, basically.
Of course.
It takes your breath away. So they did this procedure to aspirate the cysts on the liver, but in doing so, every procedure, there's a risk. They had no choice of doing this on me, because I basically was no longer eating solids. I was living on Ensure and Boost and whatever milkshake my husband used to do.
And why is this? Because you couldn't keep the food down, or there was just no room in your stomach because everything's all compressed?
There was no room, and I was nauseous because as the liver, so as you fill up your stomach, it pushes on the liver. Your liver, which is huge, it just like made you feel that you were always full.
Yeah.
And this is how I am. I eat because I have to eat. But my liver is huge. My kidneys, both kidneys are huge, and I have cysts on my gallbladder, on the right side of my gallbladder, which is connected to the portal vein to the liver. So everything is massive inside. And
so if you got a transplant, sorry, don't mean to cut you off, but it just dawned on me. If you got a kidney transplant right now, would that erase all the other cysts and everything on the liver and everything that just disappears? Or what happens to everything else? Do you need a liver transplant and everything has to be replaced? Like, how does that work?
So I am lucky that until now, my liver is functioning relatively well. I say relatively well because they said that the right part of my liver is dead, basically. And from the compression of the kidney and the fact that they had to do the ablation on those 7 cysts, They said the right part, but so far it's doing its duty. And I see the I see the liver specialist every year and sometimes twice a year. So should my liver start failing, then because the liver, they consider it more important vital organ than the kidney, then I am facing a liver and kidney transplant.
Wow. Wow.
But if my kidneys fail, it won't necessarily call upon the liver to get transplanted. It has to be that the liver fails first.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah.
So you mentioned that your doctor, your negligent doctor, literally just gave you medications just to, appease the situation. Literally what your doctor did. Why do you think doctors wouldn't go that extra step to do the due diligence, look into it further, find out what's going on? Because if you're coming back repeatedly with the same issue, UTIs and what have you, you figured somebody would say, you know what, let me do my due diligence. The doctor would go a little bit further. So why do you think that he didn't? Or
I'll be honest with you, for the longest time, he used to make comments about my hygiene. He used to make comments about my intimate life with my husband. And I my husband.
So this is all your fault. So basically it's your fault and it had nothing to do with anything else. So is that what I'm hearing?
He used to take the urine sample. There was an infection. Okay, Cipro. Another time, Septra. Anyway, I took Cipro for 19 years. On my 19th year, when I was followed by the nephrologist, if ever I got a UTI, I was put on Cipro naturally. But at least this doctor was following me for Pkd. And when there's an infection, you have to treat it because then it makes your kidney condition worse, right?
Yes,
Exactly.
Because it can infect cyst you.
Yeah,
and that becomes a big problem.
Yeah. And so my nephrologist at one time, he gave me Cipro because I had a UTI. I became allergic to Cipro. I went into anaphylactic shock.
Oh my God.
So I had them in the fridge. I called the nurse. Now the nephrologist that I have, he's my angel. I can call the nurse. I can call the nurse in the Pkd unit of care of the hospital. This is at Lakeshore Hospital in the West Island. I call the nurse, hey, Anna, I think I'm having another UTI, whatever. Okay, come in tomorrow morning right away and drop a sample, and then you can start the antibiotics. But don't start the antibiotics before, right? Exactly. So at least I had some antibiotics in me until the doctor would get the results of the culture, right? But I developed an allergy to it. I went into anaphylactic shock. My husband had to rush me to the hospital, and they had to give me whatever it's called, epinephrine there. They have to jack me with that, and that's it. So,
wow.
Had he, investigated further, had he, I would have learned earlier about this.
Yes.
And perhaps something could have been done while having children. I mean, hindsight is always 20/20, right?
Of course.
But had I known, I would have started watching my salt a lot earlier. I would have cut down protein a lot earlier. Yes.
You would have taken the necessary measures that you need to do, but you're not going to do that because you didn't think it was Pkd. You didn't think, anything was amiss, right?
I get so many patients, like Judith is part of a group. I have a messenger group and we're almost like about 40 patients in there. The stories that I've heard that they've gone to doctors, there's one mom, she's I think she just turned 45. She's got 3 daughters. she learned about PKD because her father died of PKD. I mean, the family doctor really wasn't following the father. All of a sudden, the father had kidney stones.
Mhm.
They opened them up. They opened them up, and they said, "Oh, you're full of PKD. We can't do anything."
Oh my goodness.
She learned about PKD then. And basically the doctor told her, was, well, you know, there's nothing to do, you know, come and see me in your 30s, your 40s, when, you know,
Wow.
you start losing kidney function. Like,
Wow.
and like Judith said, I mean,
Yeah.
she fell through the crack. There are so many that are falling through the
It
cracks.
happens very often. It happens very often. That happens to myself as well, because I was diagnosed with lupus. It wasn't, I went in for one particular situation, and I was telling the doctor I wasn't feeling well. And so he says, you know, just go home and take some Tylenol and you'll feel better. He just kind of tried to medicate the situation. I went in and I said, I'm not feeling well, but his answer was take Tylenol, and then he had to head up to a golf game. He literally told me he had to start a round of golf in an hour. Come back and see me on Monday, right? I didn't take the Tylenol, of course, and I was upset with him because I'm like, I'm coming to you with an issue that I have, and your answer is just to medicate it. Tylenol fix everything, right? So what you're describing right now, Louisa, is it's unfortunately, it happens quite often, unfortunately. And it's very sad. It's a very sad situation. Judith, let me ask you, what do you get from the association that Louisa has, the Pkd Foundation? How does that help you?
Okay, so I've just started being associated with them. So I have a blog that I started months ago, and in it I talked about the Pkd Foundation. I have a page where I explain what Pkd is, and at the end I told them give them money because there is actually no treatment. The only thing we have is that drug that we can take, and we can only take in some settings, and dialysis and kidney transplant. That's all we have. So
yes,
so I wanted to be I wanted to help for the longest time. And Luisa, I don't know how you found my Facebook page, but I started to be able to associate myself more, and they'll post my story this month in April, actually.
Yeah, it was Louisa. It was just strictly Louisa. I saw it on her Facebook page, and I was just like, okay, you know what? I need to talk to Louisa. I need to see if I can get, you know, get some people on the show and discuss this.
I always say, I've lost some friends to breast cancer. I have one in particular that's going through, she's going through breast cancer treatment right now. And I say that I'm fortunate to have Pkd. Why? Because it's made me meet such inspiring people, such wonderful humans. You know, this medication that is available, it's not free. It's not recognized in Ontario or Quebec by the government. And this medication is $90 a day. So my son it was suggested to my son that perhaps he should start taking this. So if my son starts taking this medication at the age of 30, he's 31, I sum it up, at the age of 30 till the age of 60, that's 30 years at $90 a day. That is
I know that my private insurance would have covered it fully. So I know that at least there's that way that you can have it paid.
Yes.
Some insurance companies pay 100%. Some insurance companies pay 80%, and some only pay 60%. It depends on the work environment. So my son is in a warehouse where the only benefits they have is glasses.
Oh, wow.
So if my son would start taking that, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching,
Of
ka-ching.
course, it becomes very
You know?
expensive. Very
And
expensive.
so I've gone to Quebec to lobby the Quebec government
Mhm.
for this medication to be recognized.
Yes.
And unfortunately, nothing has happened. I've been again to Quebec City. Actually, when the world shut down in 2020, I was in Quebec,
Okay.
in the National Assembly in Quebec, the day that the current premier said that we're going to go into lockdown. And I raised awareness with some members of the National Assembly, both in current position and opposition,
Okay.
about, polycystic kidney disease, but also the need to increase transplantations, because like, I know what's coming down the pipeline, right? And I knew something was happening in Nova Scotia, the opt-out program, right?
Yeah.
So when I went to Quebec, I said, we are such a big province. I explained that the kidney is the organ that is the most in demand, because there are so many diseases that affect the kidneys, whether it be lupus, diabetes, Pkd, nephritis, etc. There's so many diseases, we need to change this. But so I'm currently in talk with some opposition members of the government to see what can be done. But
and our goals are very similar, because I'm going to post my story and have a national coverage. That's what one of my friends and I are trying to do, and we're going to link it to the opt-out thing. So both what we are doing can link together, and I hope we'll make a change for Quebec, because
that's
definitely.
Do your listeners know about opt-out?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So let me ask you, Judith, what else are you doing in terms of trying to just find a donor, just find a kidney?
So I need a kidney sooner than later, and I have no one around me that can give me one. So when it's like that for you, and when you're on the transplant list, the only thing you can do is try to find one yourself, and nobody can help you with that. So there's no organization who tells you what you should do, who say when you're at the hospital, they don't say, here's how you could do it. So
now, are you able to ask a friend, or reach out to family members? And did you do that, or is that even an option? I don't know.
I never asked anyone, could you give me a kidney? I never did that. But what I did is always share my story, because I think that people need to know it happens to more people than they know.
Yes.
And I'm trying to do some sensibilisation, some awareness at the same time. Yep. And so I'm telling my story to as many people as I can. By my Facebook page. It's called A Kidney for Judith. And derived by that, I made a blog where I tell about what's happening to me, but also what's happening in the news about organ donations and stuff like that. And so I try to raise awareness about Pkd too. And through that, I'm trying to spread my story to find somebody who will be able to, or who would want to and would be able to give me a kidney, because that's
that our viewers could reach out if they want to try and be tested to become a kidney donor for you.
It's at Maisonneuve-Rosemont. I don't have the phone number right now for you, but anyone could write to me on Facebook and reach me through my Facebook page or on my blog, pkdwarrior.com. point, pkdwarrior.com.
Oh.
And so there's a contact page there too. And what I really need is people to spread my story like you're doing today, because
the phone number for the hospital is 252-3400, 514-252-3400.
Perfect.
The extension.
Oh, the extension, I don't know, but if you ask them for the transplant department,
Nurse,
then nurse,
Okay.
and you give them your name, you give your name, and they'll take it from there. They know where to. You have to tell everybody what blood type you are.
I was just about to ask that question. Very important.
That's less important today, actually, because of the chains of organs that they can do, the chains of life that they call. You can have up to, I think there was a 10 patients kidney transplant chain that happened last week in the United States. Yeah. So if you have somebody that can't give you a kidney but would like to give you a kidney, Transplant Quebec can match you with someone who has a donor that doesn't work for them.
Program.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
So they can do that, and so you can, in Quebec they say you can do that to up to 8 per people. So the blood type is less important than it was before. Thanks.
So if you don't mind me asking, so you said you didn't reach out to family or friends, to request or suggest, they get tested to be a donor. Why didn't you reach out?
So at first I told my nephrologist about that, and I'm like, I cannot ask someone to give me a kidney. So, and he said it's really a Canadian Quebec thing. So we're not used to asking for stuff, and but he said you could find a champion, somebody who asks for you. So that's a little bit what I'm trying to do by sharing my story. People are telling people that I need a kidney, but I don't want to put pressure on anyone. And when you want to give a kidney, you go through a whole process with the hospital where they verify that you're healthy enough, that it won't harm you in any way, and that you really want to do it. So anytime 8 people have reached out to me to tell me that they wanted to give me a kidney. It never happened, but they
reached out. They heard your story from somewhere, or they saw it from somewhere, and they reached out. So that's good.
Yeah, and so each time I try to not push too much and just say to not push at all, like actually, and just say know that if you get out of the process at any time, I won't mind. So I understand it's a big thing, and you need to do it if it feels right for you. So people know I need a kidney. They can make their own.
Own decision if they want to assist or not. And you've also provided the information and the phone number, so they can definitely reach out and try to help if they choose
and
to.
They don't even have to tell me. They can go through the process without me knowing, so they can back out without feeling guilty or anything. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you're going to get a kidney. I have that gut feeling that you're going to get a kidney. You're an amazing young woman, so I'm convinced it's going to happen. You're on the right path, right?
I'm trying hard to. That's my job right now. So
yes,
that's a weird job, but that's what I'm trying to do.
Luisa, if someone came up to you and they said, "Hey, listen, I was just diagnosed with PKD. I'd like to join your chapter," what can they expect to receive? Like, would they? Do you give them documents, pamphlets? Like, what kind of support can they expect to receive from the foundation?
Well, from the foundation, we have all kinds of pamphlets that are given to us for me to give out to newly diagnosed patients or caregivers of patients. The documents are in English and French. That we have an infograph, one sheet, double-sided, instead of walking around with a booklet, and it sums up everything about PKD. Anybody that joins, I'm always looking for people to help me out, because I myself, I'm in stage 4 now. So my energy level is not the same as it once was. So due to COVID, you know what doctors said, that doctors used to say that, you know, those with chronic kidney diseases or chronic ailments, getting COVID makes things worse. Well, after COVID, I went and see my nephrologist. So I came out of the hospital just before Christmas in 2020, and so it was a shock treatment when my nephrologist says to me that I lost 5 years because of COVID.
Wow.
Because I was at about 35, 37, I was stage 3, and I went to stage 4. So I was between 35, 37% kidney function, and now I'm around 25%.
Wow.
So I'm officially in stage 4. So I would love somebody to help me out, whether it's, you know, helping to write posts on Facebook, whether, you know, I'm a person that thinks outside the box. I, you know, last year we had a fundraiser. Well, not last year, when the pandemic started, we had a fundraiser. I found somebody that makes masks, and they're 3-ply. My niece is a graphic stylist, whatever. Yeah. She printed on each mask End Pkd, and that became a fundraiser. We didn't have our walk. There's T-shirts that were created. So, you know, somebody that has ideas, you know, I'm not asking for people to, you know, use their car and drive around the city. You know, I've had volunteers, people that have helped me out to create the Music Heals a benefit concert. You've probably seen that. So those 2 women who organized the event, they didn't own a car. They did everything by bus. Wow. And I'll be eternally grateful for that. But
if someone wants to help you out, how do they reach out to you?
My phone number, 514-501-9924.
Give Luisa a call. Give her a call.
Give me a call. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm not that great on Twitter. You know, then if I have a problem, I go to my son, Mom, you know. But, you know, give me a call. I mean, a couple of hours a month, you know, like right now we are Kidney Month. And, and you know, I'm going to make a post after we're done saying how happy I was to do this and how grateful I am to you for doing this, who's giving back now to patients who are waiting for a kidney transplant, you know.
You have to give back.
Great. So grateful for you giving back and giving us this opportunity.
That's my pleasure. I didn't even ask you, Luisa, are you actively looking for a kidney donor as well?
So I went and see my liver specialist in the fall, and he told me that by this fall I got to start looking.
Okay. So you haven't actively started yet?
No. But I have to. I can't start now because I have a big event coming up in June. And we have the walk to end Pkd. So we have walks to end Pkd all over Canada. We have one in BC. We have some other activities in Edmonton. We have walks in Edmonton. We have a walk in the Ottawa area, Toronto, Hamilton area.
You're definitely spreading the word. There's a lot of information out there and events to spread this word.
Each coordinator, like myself, is a volunteer. You know, they're doing this in whether it be in Ottawa, Hamilton, Toronto.
Yes.
I don't know if it's Scarborough. but another place in Ontario. There's 4 chapters in Ontario, basically.
Okay.
There's 4 chapters in Ontario. We're all volunteers, and we're doing this because either we are personally affected, or because we have a loved one that is affected.
Yes.
So we're doing this because, like I said, when I discovered the Pkd Foundation, it was while I was trying to figure out if this medication was good for Dad.
Yes.
And I read an article that this Montreal scientist won a research grant from the Pkd Foundation of Canada. So then right away I looked up Pkd Foundation and I go, my God, there's a foundation just for our disease. And so
and that
I
right
said,
there piqued your interest.
yeah, I don't believe in the word no. So I need somebody who's like me, who doesn't believe in the word no.
You have
told
no
you I would
conversation.
help you, but the thing is, when you're in stage 5, you don't have much energy. So I can
I
only
know.
kind of do one thing a day. And I really want to help because I know some people and I think I can help.
Yes.
But I need to do it when I can.
Of course.
So,
Of course.
so
I know.
So
I think that
it's
now
impressive
that-
that you're still doing it so much, because
I think
stage
now
4 is
that we're
where
actually
it's-
putting this out on this channel and sharing the knowledge as well about what's going on with Pkd, what it is and how it affects you and how it drains your energy. I mean, when you're going through kidney disease, it drains your energy as well. So I know that our viewers, they're gonna relate, someone's gonna try and reach out and help you out. And someone's gonna reach out and just try to assist in some way, shape, or form, because there's no way you can hear the story and not want to help, right? There's no way you can hear the story and not feel compelled to help. So I just want to say, you know what? I know this is going to work out. Always positive. This is going to work out.
I have faith. Like, who knew that? Who knew that I used to share your story on Facebook? I used to talk about you on Facebook, and who knew that? 4 years later,
here we are.
We were doing this. I mean, I happened to catch Judith's story. Sorry. I happened to catch Judith's story because I'm part of so many Pkd blogs, whether it be in Italy, in Spain, in the United States. I'm part of so many of these patient blogs, and I honestly cannot put my finger on how I came across Judith's story. And I was here in Florida when I came across, I was like going through stuff because March is Kidney Month. So I'm looking through all kinds of stuff, to like raise awareness. And every day I post something interesting. And I think everything happens for a reason.
Guaranteed. 100% guaranteed. So I think I saw Judith on your page, or I mentioned it to you that I want to do this, and you suggested Judith. It was something along the lines, but everything comes full circle. Everything definitely comes full circle.
Yeah.
Ladies, thank you very, very much for sharing your story, sharing your journey with me and our viewers. Once again, I'm sure you're going to get the results that you're looking for. Someone's going to definitely come out and help both of you in your situations, guaranteed. And I just continue to wish you all the best, and keep sharing your story, keep sharing your journey, because people are listening. People are definitely listening. So continue to share your story.
Thank you so much. We will try to continue to raise awareness. We'll try to continue to have conferences on Pkd. We'll try to do our best to, there's not only cancer, there's not only diabetes, there's not only, I'm not taking away from anything.
No.
My goal is that people recognize Pkd, and I thank you for this opportunity to shine light on it.
Let's try to make something beautiful of something not so beautiful.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you. And even though we're trying to raise awareness, you have to take care of yourself as well. Always got to think about taking care of yourself, because actually that leads into my little nugget of knowledge. At the end of every episode, I try to put a little words or nugget of knowledge out there. And today's is take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're no good for anybody else. So you have to take care of yourself. So,
You're right.
yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Ladies, thank you very much. Take care, and we'll see you next time on the Green Table Talk. Bye-bye.
Thank